My name is John Bailey. I'm with Whiteboard Advisors. We are a small advisory firm in Washington, D.C. We work with funders, we work with entrepreneurs, as well as with government leaders. So in the funder space, everyone from foundations. In the last presentation, you heard a little bit about Target. We do a lot of work with Target and some of their technology and education projects, investments in philanthropy. Little known fact, but School of One, really amazing personalization effort going on in New York City. Target helped fund this classroom redesign, the physical space redesign that was part of that. In the entrepreneur effort, a lot of folks that you've been seeing here today, from Altius all the way to Grocket, Florida Virtual School. In the government space, we do a lot of work with Chiefs for Change, a group of leading state education, state secretaries of education, as well as with federal education leaders. Today, I am just hosting a very distinguished panel, giving you a sense of what's next in some of the technology that's hitting higher education. And so this is going to be more of a demo. What we're going to do is go through a series of four quick 10-minute demonstrations and presentations, kind of like demo style. So very quick, high level, get you kind of a taste and a sense of what it is that these technologies have to offer. And then we'll shift to a mode of having you have a chance to ask some questions, and we'll facilitate some discussion amongst the folks here as well. But joining us first is Dilip Bhatia, who's the Vice President General Manager of the ThinkPad Business Unit, Lenovo. Join me in welcoming him. And I'll turn it over to him for the first presentation. So, Dilip.
Thank you for giving us the opportunity to come and talk to you about our efforts in the education space. So Lenovo is significantly committed to the education space. I personally am embedded with a number of the education advisory councils. We get a lot of direct feedback from the universities and colleges in terms of their requirements and what they're looking for. Our goal is simple. We want to obviously improve the learning outcomes, and then we want to focus on operational efficiencies and how we can take cost out of your systems. We realize that both faculty and students lead double lives, right? There's the study aspect and there's the social aspect. We're finding that that's true in the enterprise space, and we're especially true in the colleges and campuses. And clearly, these needs are overlapping, and a question for Lenovo is what are we doing to go accommodate the overlap between the study aspect and the social aspect. For desktop PCs, what we're seeing is a big trend towards all-in-one and large format displays. So clearly we're seeing a lot of interest in the all-in-ones. Who wants to buy a big tower anymore, right? Where people are finding out the all-in-one systems are doing really well. We've invested a lot. There are a lot of green capability systems. They have a lot of green features in them. And we're seeing a general trend, a lot of interest in the all-in-one form factors in our offerings. Mobility is where it's a lot more personal. And all the design criteria that we have with desktops in terms of ruggedability, reliability, all the secure and manageability aspects, we have them in our notebooks too. We have designed our ThinkPads to optimize for the education systems, and really our ThinkPads are the Swiss Army knives. They do everything, all right? They don't just look pretty. Now, at Seton Hall, what I wanted to talk to you about is a pilot that we've done recently, roughly about 400 tablets, and this is basically about 350 students and about 50 faculty in three primary areas: in the humanities space, in the sciences, and then the business management school. So let's look at some of the results, and this pilot's been going on for 3 months. I don't know if anybody from Seton Hall is here. Anybody here? We're supposed to be here, but I guess they're not here. But a very good pilot, and let me share with you. And what we're finding out is our stated goal of 50% academic and personal usage. We're clearly finding out that students are using their tablets as an example for 50% of the time for personal use and 50% of the time for academic use. Second, 88% of them value portability versus a laptop. And third, the final question, obviously they are using our tablets in different ways, but one of the interesting things is they're using the pen to take notes. What's interesting is while notebooks are obviously very popular in the higher ed space, what they love about the tablets is the collaboration capability, where two college students can get together, or three college students can get together and use their tablets in a very collaborative fashion versus traditional notebooks, right? So, and the pen aspect is coming up big. So think about it, when you're in a physics class or a chemistry class, the ability to write an equation is a lot better on a tablet and makes it a lot easy to write it out than to go do it on a notebook. So in terms of the 3 top lessons that we learned from Seton Hall study, clearly portability is a big factor. The pen is big, the pen base, and the apps that come with it. So those are the 3 things that we have learned. Now the pilot's going to continue on for this upcoming semester, and so far the feedback has been very positive from Seton Hall. Let me talk to you about some of the products that we've just announced at CES. So one of the products that we've announced is our ThinkPad X1 Hybrid. What we've done with this offering is put an ARM processor along with an Intel chip that allows us to double your battery life. So when I'm playing a movie or when I'm playing, watching some pictures or surfing the web, I don't need the full horsepower of an Intel processor. So if I could double my battery life with an ARM processor, why couldn't I do that? So that's an offering that we've just announced at CES. And then also we've announced the Ultrabook. We think the Ultrabook is going to be a huge factor going forward. It's a very thin form factor, under 4 pounds, very thin. And Jason over here has them over here afterwards if you guys want to go take a look at it. Thank you, Jason. So again, we're getting a lot of positive feedback on our Ultrabook space. So lastly, again, I want to thank you. That's all I wanted to go cover. Lenovo is really committed to the education space. We are the #1 provider in the education space. Last year we did about 3.5 million PCs in this space. Thank you.
Thank you. What questions? We're going to take questions in between for each speaker.
No, actually, I think we're going to go right through, and then we'll turn up the lights and do questions. Yep, sudden change.
Thrown off at better stages.
We're going to jump to Brad, I think, just to give Angela, you still need some more time to connect to the, yeah. So we're going to jump to Brad, who is president of IC360 Incorporated. And so please join me in welcoming Brad.
I thought I'd tell you a little bit about IC360 first and who we are. This is our first CES. Matter of fact, this is our first show, so I'm sure everybody out there is quite familiar who we are. But for those that aren't, IC360 was started 13 years ago out of Carnegie Mellon University in Pittsburgh. The technology that we have is, the brand is GoPano. The technology we have is 360 imagery. It was used in the robotics lab, the lunar lander, and some of the Mars rover, and some of the autonomous vehicles. We felt this would be a great technology to bring to the public. So IC360 is the leader in single optic 360 imagery. And here we have a little bit about the technology. Here we have an optic, and the optic here fits on any camera. I have an SLR here. It fits on any camera. It captures light from all directions at the same time, feeds it into the camera, and what the camera sees is that. And what happens then is that image then is fed into the computer. The computer then unwraps the image, and this is what you see coming out. Now, it can be a perspective view, or it can be a cylinder view. We call this a cylinder view. And if I was going to do a live presentation, except we didn't have time to set it up, so you'll have to come to our booth at 3609. So what have we been doing for 13 years? Well, when we started this back in 1998, a 1 megapixel still camera was a big deal. Unfortunately, when we took 1 megapixel and we stretched it around you 360 degrees, it made even a worse picture. So fast forward to 2012, with HD cameras being fairly commonplace, and now going beyond HD, which we see as the red camera, and you'll be able to see that in our booth. It's 12 megapixel video, and so when we take 360 imagery, the picture quality is quite good. For this technology to be pervasive, what we had to do is we had to make it easy to use. So what we did was we actually developed 2 years ago an app, and we took a hard look at the iPhone, and we said, well, the platform, the actual processing power on the iPhone was actually more powerful than what we started with in 1998. So we took a hard look at that, and we developed an optic for the iPhone, which we think is a great thing for social media and so forth. But actually, everybody is in focus in the room now, and you actually just swipe it across, and everybody can be captured on the application. So May can go through the app, the beginning of the app, capture the videos, and then it can be shared. So what are we doing today in the teaching community? Well, there was a project funded by Melinda and Bill Gates Foundation that actually asked us to take our 360 imagery and capture the whole environment in a classroom. And the reason for that was they were going to evaluate teacher performance based on the actual total environment in the classroom. And today they have it in 500 schools, and basically they've captured over 20,000 hours of video currently. So we see this moving forward. We see this as a great way to provide presence and choice for online learning, where you actually can capture an entire classroom and actually then have the remote learning student actually be immersed in the actual video rather than sitting passively and just watching one camera shot. And I'm a big sports fan, so I think another application in not directly education, but I think for higher education institutions, secondary college sports, those that may not see the light of day because of budget constraints or whatever. You can take one of these, put it on a camera, point it at a URL, and let the viewer actually select his or her point of view. So where will this go in the future? Well, we have our ideas, but we'll leave it up to you and decide on where this should go as a customer. So thank you.
Thank you. Very cool. Great. Next, join me in welcoming Angela. Angela, we're going to go next.
A little more time.
One more time.
Hey everybody, I'm David Woolf. I'm the General Manager of Integrated Technologies at Steelcase. Many of you may not have heard of us, but we're actually the world's largest manufacturer of office furniture. And I'm sure that many of you sit in our chairs and work at our desks almost every day. At Steelcase, we have been studying the office and the classroom for almost 100 years, and we've noticed that it hasn't changed much since we were founded in 1912. Well, today I want to show you how we're working to change that. I want to show you an exciting new technology called Mediascape that can be integrated across the higher education environment to create active learning spaces for the 21st century. So what is Mediascape, you ask? Let's roll the video. So the first question I always get when I show that to university customers is, how does that work in the higher education environment? And here's a great vignette that shows that. What we do is basically take 4 Mediascape tables, divide the room into quadrants, and put a Mediascape table in each corner. So the professor can still teach as they normally do in the lecture style, and there's clear sight lines for all the students in the room. But the real magic happens when they go into co-creation mode. So each table has a display. The professor asks the students to start working on their projects. Now they take control of the display that's at their table, and the professor can walk around and check to see how they're doing. If the professor likes what they're seeing, they can then take that image and put it up on the big screens on the sides. So it's true active learning at its finest. It's a perfect active learning environment. Another application we see for Mediascape is a lot of libraries are putting Mediascapes in because the space is so underutilized and because students are always looking for new spaces to collaborate in. So why not put a Mediascape in your library? We've seen some huge universities like UCLA, Virginia Christian University, some very good names, so like Stanford. So here at the show, we're launching 2 brand new versions of this. One is Mediascape Mini, and the other is Mediascape Mobile. These are more portable, a little bit smaller products so that they're able to fit into any environment on the university, so you can build collaboration spaces any place you want to across the campus. We expect to see applications emerge like this. I sure wish I went to school here, actually. It's a beautiful space. Or like this. This could be a cafe. So Mediascape is breakthrough technology. If you want to see a demo, come on downstairs to booth 3307. And if you can't make it down there, go to our website. That's steelcase.com/msmini for a test drive, and we'll send you something to your campus so you can test it out. Thanks, everybody.
Great, thank you. And last but not least, we have Angela Lin, who's the head of YouTube education. Apologies, we were going through some plug and pray sort of technology issues, but you can imagine with CES, there's just a huge bandwidth glut, and so it's been difficult getting on the internet for her. So, but with that, I'll turn it over to Angela. Join me in welcoming her.
Hi, everyone. My name is Angela, and I oversee the education vertical at YouTube, also known as YouTube EDU. Before I get started, I thought I'd just play you guys a quick video. Because I'm from YouTube, I'm sure you expected a video anyway.
All right, so here we are in front of the elephants.
We wouldn't be anywhere close to where we are without the help of this community. Thanks a lot.
It's working before. All right. Well, we can skip the video for now, see if it works later. But basically what I wanted to share with you was a couple of our stats and just kind of an idea of the breadth of content, just a reminder of the breadth of content that we have on our site. I know a lot of us in here are focused on education, but when you upload educational content, it's uploaded into a big plethora of other types of content. What specifically is the significance of YouTube, and why am I here talking about higher education? I think, whether you're learning how to knit, how to play a new song on the piano, or how to write a computer program, people often turn to educational video. This is nothing new. I think what is new is that a single video and a single individual now has the world as her stage. And that access to video is easier than it's ever been before on laptops, on cell phones, tablets. And instead of requiring a trip to the local library or access to a DVD player, a click of a button can help you uncover a treasure trove of information. When it comes to YouTube, what this means is that if you want to tell a story or teach something, you can immediately reach a global audience just by uploading a video to YouTube. And if you want to be inspired or learn something, chances are you can find a relevant video on YouTube. The reality is that people come to our site every day to teach, to connect, and to learn. And we at YouTube EDU are simply trying to further enable and enrich this reality. At YouTube EDU, we aim to bring learners and educators together in a global classroom by organizing high-quality educational content and making it universally accessible and useful. Might sound a little bit familiar to you in terms of Google's mission. Although we have education partners from across the learning spectrum, we view them in 3 primary learning segments: K-12, which covers primary and secondary education, higher ed, and lifelong learning. Our partners share videos ranging from academic lectures to inspirational speeches and everything in between. Now, with this supply of great content also comes increasing demand. We've seen views of educational content on YouTube double in the last year, and the category is amongst the fastest growing on the site. To support this growth, our primary goals in the past 12 months were content, organization, and access. To this end, we expanded the EDU portal beyond university partners, which is probably what you've been familiar with, to include content across the other segments. We also worked with teachers to put together more than 400 topical playlists that other teachers can use in the classroom. We built an increased organization and functionality on the site, including a deeper subject taxonomy and new course pages. And we just launched YouTube for Schools last month, which is a network setting that enables primary and secondary schools that currently restrict usage to be able to access content just from YouTube EDU. Today, there are more than 500,000 videos in the EDU corpus from over 700 partners, including top universities from around the world. I'm sure some of you seated here today have channels on YouTube. As part of YouTube's original programming initiative, we're also seeding new education-specific channels. In the coming year, you'll see the launch of next-generation channels such as TED Ed, The Spangler Effect, Soul Pancake from Rainn Wilson of The Office. These come from some of our top, most innovative partners who are committed not just to uploading video, but also capitalizing YouTube as a platform for interaction and engagement. With this effort, we hope to expand the breadth of educational content on the site and inspire more partners, large and small, to contribute to this global classroom. So I've talked a bit about what we've been up to, and I've been asked to speak about what you guys can do. And from the show of hands earlier today, I saw that many of you are here representing colleges and universities. So next I thought I'd cover a few concrete ways you can utilize YouTube as a platform. For the most part, I see a lot of colleges and universities using YouTube as a recruitment and promotional tool, which is fine. However, I'd also like you to think of YouTube as an extension of what you're already doing in the classroom, a fast and easy way to share the great content that you already create on a daily basis. Some universities do this by uploading and sharing speaker series and occasional lectures. Others, such as Stanford, UC Berkeley, MIT, Open University, they share full semester courses or use the site to feature archival content. Consider that YouTube 101. Let's see what else you can do. You can also organize these lectures into topical playlists and supplement these lectures by using our newly built feature where you can upload materials such as additional readings for your students. You can use keywords and tag your videos with detailed metadata so that they are more easily discoverable beyond your own classroom and campus. And you can also upload transcripts for captioning so you can make your content more accessible and more global. In addition, there are also plenty of tools to interact directly with your viewers on YouTube. You can ask for responses to particular questions in the comment section. You can ask students to upload response videos. And you can also use annotations to encourage them to check out the other videos or check their own understanding of a concept. On the left here, you see a screenshot of our Moderator tool, which allows your students to submit and vote questions up or down. This is the same tool we asked viewers to use for the State of the Union YouTube video, interview with Obama last year. On the right is a screenshot from a PSA developed to address knife violence amongst youth in the UK. You could imagine using annotations like this to create a choose-your-own-adventure style educational experience for your own students. You can also analyze. YouTube gives content creators tools to track views, demographics, and much more. So you can drill down into the data to track individual videos or at the channel level to see trends. You can see which videos of yours perform best, which ones, where viewers are dropping off in terms of engagement. And you can also utilize this tool to gauge the success and geographic popularity to see maybe how many of your views are coming from outside of the US. And last but not least, YouTube is just a great platform for experimentation. We see some educators flipping the classroom, as you've probably heard with Khan Academy, assigning videos for homework, using class time for discussions instead, and tackling tough questions. On a financial note, with budgets and funding being cut in recent years, some education partners have also turned to YouTube as a free content hosting service for their videos but also they're opting in to earn ad revenue. You check a box, we do the rest, but whether as an institution or an individual, this has given our partners a way to open up additional revenue streams to financially support their educational missions. So if you're feeling really adventurous, you can also try live streaming like you see here. And we also see tons of students exercising their own creativity and engaging in peer-to-peer learning via our site. You see some med student rap videos go viral last year, things like that. So as evidenced by these examples, I want to encourage you to think more creatively about how to use YouTube beyond just simply uploading lecture videos. We invite you to join us in this global learning experiment, create a channel, upload a video, incorporate it into your teaching, or enhance your educational apps and services via the free YouTube API. We're definitely headed towards a world where a single teacher can reach millions of students, and where anyone with an internet connection can access the world's greatest thinkers and educators. So we see YouTube as the world stage, but we need you guys to be the stars. So you can find out more information on those URLs below, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Great, thank you. Join me in thanking Angela. And what we're going to do now is get your questions ready. I'm going to start asking the panelists a couple questions. Angela, I actually want to start with you just because so we have a lot of content partners in the audience and a lot of folks who are developing sort of video content. What's the process in which they submit content to YouTube EDU, and how do you sort of curate sort of what is education content versus what's not educational in the process there? That's
a good question. We actually, first of all, what you do is you apply to our partner program, youtube.com/partners, and all of those partners, all those applications are reviewed. Not just, I think there's tons of channels obviously on YouTube, and we're not just willy-nilly allowing anyone into YouTube EDU because we want to maintain the high quality nature of the portal. So once you submit it for review, it actually goes to a team of folks that are reviewing to make sure not just that the content is educational in nature and that the goal of the channel is not just promotional, but that we're learning from your institution, not just learning about your institution. But then also that there's enough videos there. You know, if you're uploading one video, obviously, that's not enough. You actually need to have built up a bank of videos for it to be considered.
Great, thank you. Brad, maybe just because the panoramic video, I think that's pretty cool. We've all seen sort of panoramic still images, but seeing video in 360. What are some of the other higher ed uses? I know that the Gates Foundation project was looking at it specifically so they could do data coding for teacher evaluation of what the teacher was doing, what was going on with the Blackboard, what kids were doing. But from a higher ed perspective, how are people using that? Is it just class lecture capture, or what's the use scenarios there?
Well, it's still evolving right now, and we've seen some colleges right now begin to use it in remote learning, where they're actually doing live streaming of 360 and also pre-recorded classes. So the evolution is just beginning.
Yeah.
And once again, for it to continue, what we have to do is we have to make people aware of it. And
right.
To be aware that's why we developed this guide for the iPhone. So.
It's a good segue, I think, into questions actually for all the panels, but it seems that sort of kind of core things, particularly here if you're walking around sort of CES, is the whole notion of video media, but also mobility, whether it's tablet form, Ultrabook form, iPhone form, Android, but just what sort of trends are you seeing, driving, impacting higher education in terms of mobility and media that are creating the demand for sort of the services and the products that you're generating here? I'll open up that for anyone.
No, so from a mobility perspective and to increase learning, I mean, even on notebooks, you'll see HD cameras, VoIP capability. You'll see, we're putting in features where people are in a VoIP capability, noise canceling keyboard, where you can make minimum noise. With our tablets, the ability to, also offer high definition cameras, video capability, the ability to share information, so we have full USB port as an example. Mm-hmm. So clearly, with the Ultrabook is, again, once you've carried something light, you don't want to go back to something very heavy. So you'll start to see, with the Ultrabook, with the tablets, much more mobility going forward.
Yeah. David, how are you seeing, especially since your whole technology is about sharing video and turning it on and off?
So one of the biggest trends is learning's no longer happening just exclusively in the classroom. And these mobile tools that we're seeing mean that students want to have collaboration spaces all around campus. So you can't just set up collaboration space in the classroom. It's got to be in places like the libraries. It's got to be in places like the cafeteria, and that's one of the visions that we're really trying to create.
Great. One other question for the panel, then we'll start taking questions from the audience. But so higher ed, sort of historically has been resistant to a certain degree in terms of adopting technology. Often that comes out of universities as part of the university, learning process. Who do you see as who is the buyer in this case? Is it the university IT offices? Is it professors? Who are the folks that are sort of driving the trends and adopting these technologies inside of universities? Is it faculty? Just who are the key buyers and users there?
I think it's going to be the student and the
Students?
customer.
Yeah.
I mean, when you look at the immersive experience, it has to be of high quality.
Right.
And we've seen faster processors. You're seeing Thunderbolt on the laptops today. I can tell you 4K live is just around the corner. HD today is 2K. 4K is just around the corner, so I think you'll see that maybe this year as a live broadcast medium. And as processors get faster, you're going to see it on the mobile devices. And I think that's where it's going to really take off.
Mm-hmm. It's really changed for Steelcase over the last 10 years or so. We used to sell almost exclusively to facilities as a furniture company, but now if you aren't selling to the IT department, the facilities department, and the curriculum department, you're not going to get adoption. So that's how you really get the active learning space created in universities and in other higher education facilities, is by going after those three tiers. So.
Yeah, I mean, even in our case, in the case of Lenovo, it used to be we would exclusively work with the IT managers, where they would demand, these are the specs, these are the attributes we're looking for. But these days we're finding students are coming in with the whole social aspect, and they're much further ahead than the IT teams, and they're influencing what they want in technology in terms of tablets, notebooks going forward. So we're seeing a lot more students driving technology requirements.
From our perspective at YouTube, I think a lot of the folks I work with are folks not in the IT department, but in the social media communications departments that want to get the word out and want to share what's going on around on campus. And then we also have individual professors coming to us for solutions that say, my university doesn't want me to share this, but I want to share this with the world. How do I do this? Help me do that.
And also, what we're seeing is the IT teams are willing to take a lot more risk. Right? When universities are showing the latest and greatest technologies, they want to attract the best and the brightest students. So when the students are coming in, they see if the university is adopting the latest equipment, gadgets, they're much farther ahead. The university is a lot more appealing to the students.
It's interesting that this notion kind of came up as a theme on a panel, but I've seen this too of a lot of these technologies getting adopted around the IT department. The IT department sort of catching up in a lagging sense to a certain degree, or sometimes they're more the obstacles to the adoption of the technology. But it's good. Time for you. Questions in the audience. We have our roving mic, and we
do.
light.
I find it somewhat ironic that we have 3 hotspots over there. We're in a city that's supposed to be high tech. We've got all these people up here with technology, and we can't run the YouTube video.
Yeah.
But maybe it's just me.
The internet got clogged.
I don't know how many of you have cell phones that work, but you're unique. I saw a hand back here. Please introduce yourself and keep your question short.
Hi, my name is David Rivdahl. I'm with Cal Poly Pomona.
We can't hear you. There.
It's on. Okay. Hi, my name is David Rivdahl from Cal Poly Pomona. This question's for Angela. Just have a quick question about the YouTube university service. Do you have any plans, or do you have any option for doing live streaming currently?
We have a self-service live stream product that Stanford and Dartmouth actually tested last year to use for their commencements. So the answer is we have a product. It's just being rolled out.
Questions?
Right behind you.
So Angela, you said that Rachel Winston, Saracosa College. So you said that if I want to put a video on of a math lecture that I'm teaching, I need to have a number of them put together, but I can't give you one of them so you could see it. I'm not sure I understood what you said.
Sorry, let me clarify. So he was asking, how do you, if you go to youtube.com/education, we have 700 channel partners that are featured there. And he was asking how you become part of that set of channels. However, if you want to use it for your individual purposes or for your particular classroom, we are not a gatekeeper at all. All you do is you sign up for an account, you upload your video, and then you share that link with your students. So there's no barrier there.
Hi, my name is Dr. Mark Termino. I had a question about Ultrabooks. You have, kind of primed the pump a little bit around the excitement. And can you talk a little bit about how the best features of tablets, namely the touchscreen and browsing interface, becomes part of Ultrabooks? I know you can't give away your product timeline, but if you could just give us your vision and maybe approximate delivery of something like that.
I mean, you're starting to see Ultrabooks already in the marketplace. And if you think about it, what's causing the Ultrabook phenomena? Well, partly a lot of it's driven by tablets. Why do people like tablets? It's the instant-on capability, it's the touch capability, right? The long battery life capability, and that's what Ultrabooks are going to bring to the consumers. Now, we've just announced the IdeaPad Yoga offering today. It's revolutionary in the sense that it not only is it an Ultrabook, but it's also a tablet where the screen basically flips all the way back. So then you can basically use it as a tablet, or you can use it as a notebook. And so we've just announced that will be available for Windows 8 perspective. Now, Windows 8, there's certainly a lot of excitement with the Metro interface, with the touch capability. So you'll start to see when Windows 8 comes out with touch capability, people will, there's a lot of excitement. We've seen some initial beta units, and clearly we've been impressed by it. So Ultrabooks will also offer longer battery lives, right? And it'll only continue to get better. They'll be much thinner. The Ultrabook definition is 18 millimeter for 13 inch and 21 millimeter for 14 inch. So very thin and light notebooks, long battery lives, instant on capability. That's what Ultrabooks are going to bring to the marketplace.
Great. Question over here?
Question, comment up there or question?
No.
John Idelson, California State University, Monterey Bay. And mine's a question in terms of the 360 view camera.
Yes.
What you're doing with the imagery is amazing. What about sound? That's another challenge. And have you tried to deal with getting sound quality better from these cameras?
Well, we have, not only have we done, directional sound, we also have filed a couple patents regarding directional sound so that when you're listening, you can actually have a choice. Do I want to listen to where I'm looking only, or do I want to listen to everything around me? So we do have directional sound also.
I'm Tom Bustos from University of California, Merced. I have a question for David Woolf. I noticed that in a lot of your Mediascape furniture that it has a screen already accompanying it. Do you have any plans on having a Mediascape device that will connect to screens that university might already have, or a projection screen that they're already using in a classroom?
Yeah, we're an open platform, and we do work with projectors. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Open mic, your chance.
Maybe just one question, so you think of another question too. On the 360 video, can you do hyperlinks within the video? So is it possible that someone can click on the teacher and get access to, some other HTML page or something?
That's coming with the next version of VideoWorks software.
Got it. Brings a whole nother set of interactivity to it.
Right.
Any other questions or panels? All right, great. I think we're actually ending several minutes early, which will be great to transition to the next panel. But join me in thanking our panelists. Don't forget to visit them out on the floor. Thanks very much.